Welcome. Today we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations with fractions through a technique called clearing fractions. Our algebra teachers refer to this technique as Fractionbusters, and they call this one of the power tools of algebra. So, 2 examples is all we're going to get today. Here's the first example. 1/3 x plus 3/5 equals 2/3. This is actually a simple two-step equation, but it has some fractions in it. So rather than tackling this by subtracting 3/5 on both sides, let's get rid of the fractions by using Fractionbusters. What we need to do is figure out what would be the common denominator of all these fractions, and the fractions are 1/3, 3/5, and 2/3. So figure out for yourself what would the common denominator of these fractions be. The common denominator for 3 and 5 should be 15. We're going to multiply the entire equation by 15 over 1. This is shorthand. Typically we'd be multiplying both sides of the equation by 15 over 1. I'm showing the whole thing by putting parentheses around the whole equation. Now we're going to distribute 15 over 1 times 1/3 x, 15 over 1 times 3/5, and 15 over 1 times 2/3. Okay, so 15 over 1 times 1/3 x plus 15 over 1 times 3/5 equals 15 over 1 times 2/3. Alright, I'm going to do all the canceling first. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 5 goes into 15 3 times. And 3 goes into 15 5 times. So we'll go across and multiply. In the first term we have 5 times 1 times x. That's going to be 5x. In the second term we have plus 3 times 3. That's going to be plus 9. And in the last term equals 5 times 2 equals 10. Okay, so we've used Fractionbusters to eliminate the fractions, and we're left with this two-step equation simply by multiplying through by 15. Now we have to solve the two-step equation. 5x plus 9 equals 10. So box it out, put the line of equality, and we're going to have 2 steps. Step 1, add or subtract. Subtract 9 on each side. Positive 9 and negative 9 cancel, and we're left with 5x equals 1. Last step, divide both sides by 5, because 5 divided by 5 equals 1. So we got 1x, or just x, equals 1/5. And that's your answer. Alright, example 2. Example 2 is 5/6 x minus 2/3 equals 4. So a two-step equation with fractions. To eliminate the fractions, we think of the common denominator for 6, 3, and 4. Typically, if I have 3 fractions that I need to find the common denominator of, I look at the larger of the 2 fractions, 6 and 4, and find the common denominator for that, and then just check that it's divisible by the smaller one. So for 6 and 4, the common denominator should be 12. 12 is divisible by 3, so it's going to work. So again, we're distributing 12 on each side of the equation. So we're going to have 12 times 5x, 5/6x, 12 times minus 2/3, and 12 times 1/4. So 12 times 5/6x minus 12 over 1 times 2/3 equals 12 over 1 times 1/4. Again, let's do all our canceling first. 6 goes into 12 twice. 3 goes into 12 4 times. And 4 goes into 12 3 times. See, this is why we chose 12, because it would cancel all those denominators for us, leaving 1 across the board as all the denominators. So now we go ahead and multiply, and we'll get a normal two-step equation. So 2 times 5 times x is 10x minus 4 times 2 minus 8 equals 3 times 1, so it equals 3. So now we have a simple two-step equation. 10x minus 8 equals 3. So again, I like to box the term with the variable because we're going to isolate that in the first step. And the first step would be add or subtract to get rid of the 8. We'll add 8 to each side. 8 and negative 8 cancel. So we have 10x equals 11. The last step, divide both sides by 10, because 10 divided by 10 equals 1. So we're left with x equals 11 tenths. And that's an acceptable answer. On these problems, you don't need to change improper fractions back to mixed numbers, because the improper fractions are actually easier to plug in to the original question to solve. So that's the end.